Hey, here's the video preview for week 2 of Stories of the Kingdom, a series on parables. This week's parable is Parable of Bigger Barns, found in Luke chapter 12, verses 13 through 21. This is the story about a guy, obviously fictitious character, but he has a crop of food or whatever, and decides that, hey, he's got so much, he needs to tear down the barns that he has and build bigger barns to store it all up. And Jesus kind of criticizes this fictitious character as someone who is just very selfish, when instead he could have been sharing all of his abundance of stuff with other people. Anyway, the opening activity here, buckets, bins, and baskets, oh my. So there's all kinds of different baskets and stuff, and then we have some ping pong balls. So as an example, I've set up some ping pong balls in this basket. Before you fill up a basket or a bucket or whatever, have the kids make guesses on how many ping pong balls they think will fit in there, and then dump them in there as kind of a control factor to this little scientific process of making predictions and filling things up and all that. You have a cookie sheet or a pizza pan, and then the control factor is for each one, as it fills up, the pizza pan is going to have to smush it down and balance. Okay, so you saw that on that, I lost a ping pong ball. So that ping pong ball has to be excluded. So after you balance the cookie sheet on there, then it's done. And then your group can go back and count how many ping pong balls are left in that bucket, and you can award the closest guesser with some cuck bucks. But kind of experiment with the different sizes of buckets, bins, baskets, things like that. Have some fun, taking measurements, making predictions. And then the what you say part here is kind of a good lead in to our story for this week. Involves a man who wanted even bigger containers for his stuff, except his container wasn't a bin, basket, or bucket. It was a barn. And then you play the video, which of course on the Roku is found in the Stories of the Kingdom folder. There, Stories of the Kingdom, and week 2, Bigger Barns. After the video, we've got Old Maid with a twist. Now, if you're not familiar, Old Maid is a very simple beginner level card game. Basically, the way that you play Old Maid is you're passing around cards, and then as you make a match with 2 similar cards, then you place the cards down. And when everyone has gone through the whole deck of cards, whoever is left with the card with the Old Maid on it, that person loses, and everyone else wins or whatever. The twist on this is that here's the stack of cards, and all the cards have like different toys. So here's kind of a Lego toy. There's some with like an American Girl doll, things like that, all kinds of toys. And then one card in this stack is a little cartoon of a boy and a girl. So that would be like the Old Maid in this deck of cards. So you have the kids sit in a circle. I think the instructions say to have kids, or have your group break off into 4 or 5. But you could probably do it with the whole class just because it's a small class. But pass out all the cards to everybody. Doesn't matter if everyone has 6 cards or 4 cards. Or it doesn't matter if everyone has the same number of cards, as long as it's fairly close. And then they're just gonna flip the cards over and allow, like say I'm playing and I have 5 cards and I flip them over. The person to my right can then randomly draw one of my cards without seeing what it is. And then they can check and see if there's any matches with the new card that they received. If there is, then they can put the matching cards down on the floor in front of them for everyone else to see. And then they'll flip their hand over, and the person to their right can then pick a card at random and see if they have any matches. And you basically go through all the cards, allowing kids to make different matches throughout the pattern of rotation. But play continues until one child is left holding the boy and girl card. Now, in typical Old Maid rules, this kid would be the loser, but the twist here is that kids may think the person who gets the boy and the girl card is the loser, but that's not the case. In the discussion here, you point out that what's most important our bottom line here. When you focus on stuff, you can miss what matters. And what really matters is loving God and loving people. So people are more important than stuff. So it's a very long explanation, but I think it's a game kids will really enjoy. Last activity, teetering towers. So I've got 2 different examples of Jenga towers. This one needs a little bit straightening up. But what you can do here is divide your group into 2 different teams and assign one team this style of tower where it's 1 block per level. The blocks kind of rotate. And then the other team has 2 blocks per level. 2, 2, 2, 2, and so on. So both of these towers, for example, have 12 blocks. This tower is way taller. It looks more impressive. But as you can guess, it's not as sturdy. So that's kind of the teaching point here with this is bigger is not always better. More is not always good. It's a dangerous thing when we let our stuff become more important than people. So you can go through that discussion point there in helping kids understand it's not always about making things bigger, better, taller, faster, stronger. Because when we do that, we can sometimes miss what's most important, and it's the people in our lives. So those are your activities. I think the kids will really enjoy it. You got buckets, bins, baskets, oh my, the video, then the old maid card game, then the teetering towers. So have fun. Thanks.